this is Ori from AstroWeb, and I'm going to introduce in this video the Cloudflare product. So what is Cloudflare? So Cloudflare is traditionally known for being a CDN, a content delivery network, which basically means that the Cloudflare has infrastructure around the world with different servers, and they help serve web content, images, websites, JavaScript, CSS, videos, etc. across the world, and they do it quickly. And what it does is it makes website speeds faster. It allows your business to use less resources for servers. You pay them to do it. And they do it efficiently and better. That's the basic concept. But Cloudflare is also really good and really known recently for doing more things than that. For example, a firewall and load balancing, image optimization, and many, many other things. And it's really, really good, and we've implemented it on our personal or our company website recently, and we've had some very good results with it. And I wanted to introduce it and showcase it to you so you can, so beginners can understand how to register, how to use it, some features, and I can show you some data. So really simple, Cloudflare. You go to cloudflare.com, you can check it out, and if you go to pricing, you'll be able to see they have different tiers. All the way from a free tier, which has some basic functionality, and then paid tiers, which have some additional things. For example, the Pro has a firewall. Let me go here for a second. The Pro has firewall, have some image optimizations, and then the Business and Enterprise have much more features, and those are really built for bigger sites because the cost, business is $200 a month, and enterprise is, as far as I know, from a few $1,000s a month, but depending on the project. So they have a lot of different functionality. So right now on our site that we're going to showcase today, we use the Pro version. So I'm going to show you how to register, and I'm going to show you real data from our Pro version and kind of go over some things. If you have any specific questions that I didn't cover in this video, let me know. I'll try to answer as best as I can. Okay, so let's start. So once you want to actually use it, what you do is you sign up. We have a plan right here. We have an account. If you want to add a new one, you click on Add a Site. And I have a temporary site I just created. So I have a domain we're not using, and I'm going to put the site in. Okay, and I'm going to click on Add Site. Okay, and then I'm going to select the specific one. Right now I'm going to select just the free, but after I show you how to configure it or set it up with a new domain, I'm going to jump to the Pro version so you can see some more features. So free, confirm plan. So the first step you need to do is you need to actually set up your DNS, set up your domain name to point all records to Cloudflare. So how do you do that? You have to follow the instructions, and this is a little technical. So what you do is what they do is they scan your website, they do a DNS lookup, and they try to get all of your records that you currently have. So if you transfer your DNS name servers from your domain name to them, they're going to try to maintain it. So once you have it, you're going to have a list here, and it's going to have a few different rows. So what you want to do is make sure that you continue to point the things that you did prior, that you continue to request, for Cloudflare to point the DNS records the same as you did before. So if everything looks okay, what you do is you can either change them or you keep them the same, and you can specify if you want Cloudflare to actually, you can enable Cloudflare only to do the DNS of it or to also route the traffic through Cloudflare, and you'll be able to understand it a little bit later. Route the traffic through will help you do things like firewall and optimizations and things like that, right? So the website you want to optimize and not just do DNS, you're going to have it colored. You're going to have it on. The websites you don't want to, you're going to turn it off. But in this case, we're transferring everything. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, and then it gives you instructions. Log in your GoDaddy account because it recognized that we registered this specific account with GoDaddy, and change the name servers from this to this. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to copy, go to my domain, I'm going to go here to change my name servers to custom, and I'm going to put the first one in, and I'm going to put the second one in, and I'm going to click on Save. Okay, so now I did it. Now this process may take between a few seconds and a few hours or more. And this is just DNS propagation. Usually it's very, very quick, but it really depends on the DNS itself. Okay, so once I'm finished, I click on check, and it's going to start checking, and here's where I see my dashboard. Here's everything I have here, all the settings, which we're going to review most of them today. And that's it, and all I can do right now is just recheck until it populates, and that's it. So now that you know how to register, now I'm going to jump to our other site to show you real data on these things. So I'm going to go here. You see here I have my list of my domains. I'm going to go to AstroWeb. Okay, so the first one is the first overview tab is just showing you some basic information, some basic graphs, your visitors. You can switch a little bit, see some basic ideas about caching percentage. So caching is Cloudflare not always having to ask for the content in the web information from your server. Is they would save it in their own records and serve it to the customer, the person browsing the website, which is much, much faster. So usually the higher percentage caching, the better. The faster the response, the faster user experience, things like that. So you see some data here. Next one is analytics. Okay, so here you'll be able to see a little bit more data with these tabs. Number of requests, the bandwidth, the unique visitors, things like that. You'll be able to see a graph of the number of cached and uncached data. Okay, you'll be able to see visits by country, what are the most popular countries, for example, and some basic information here. Okay, so security, this is for analytics. You'll be able to see Cloudflare can help stop attacks. So you can do rate limiting, which is if too many visitors come from the same IP, you can stop them. You'll be able to know more information. You'll be able to optimize performance with some other features and things like that. Okay, DNS you can see. So this will give you some more data about how your website is actually being used. Okay, so let's jump a little bit. So DNS, this is where you configured, if you remember when we transfer, these are all your records. Okay, so in this case we have a ton of records, and we've set some to go through Cloudflare and some to only be through DNS, right? So you can change those records, you can add a new record, you know, and this is really for a DNS video to do. So you can add those and you can change those. Okay, so let's start with the real stuff. So I'm going to pull up my website right now. Okay, so this website is being served from, this is our Taiwanese website in Chinese. It's being served from Cloudflare. Okay, so here's this crypto one. Here's where you're going to specify SSL and HTTPS settings right here. So first one is, do I want to use an SSL? Yes, no, or do I want to be, which type of certificate do I want to use? So every single setting you're going to have here is going to have help that you can read a little bit more, and if you want to integrate with an API, with a programmatic programming language, you can do that as well. So here you're going to have settings for your SSL certificate. If you want to use the Cloudflare share certificate, or you want to use your own certificates, you can do it. Here's you're going to set up your domain names, if you want domain names, subdomains, etc. And each one of these fields, if you want to use it, you'll have enable, disable, or if your plan doesn't support, for example, we're in Pro, and this is the enterprise feature, you'll be able to upgrade itself. Okay, always use HTTPS. This will allow to force to redirect. If someone types in the browser HTTP, it'll automatically redirect them to HTTPS. This will also push if your code references HTTPS, you can force HTTP, you can force HTTPS. Okay, these are some technical settings, TLS versions. These are how you communicate, how you handshake with the other browsers. So if you're not sure, don't touch these things. Really an important rule is if you're not sure about the setting, don't touch it, because you can actually mess up or break the website if you're not sure. Okay. Other things, opportunistic encryption. This is about HTTP2. So let's see here. I'm not really sure too much about this. Okay, so I'm going to skip this a little bit. Not really sure too much about it. Okay, onion routing. This is if people use your browser, your customers use Tor private browser to surf, do you want to serve that to them as well? TLS 1.3 is a faster protocol, so if the customer's browser supports it, they can surf using TLS 1.3, which is a slightly quicker way to use HTTPS, to use secure communications. Okay, and let's jump a few more things. So firewall. So you can set up firewall rules. This is the event tab, which shows you which firewalls you have currently, which settings have been there. For example, the firewall event log has blocked access for Chinese IPs because of a certain rule that was triggered. So let's look at a few things here. So manage rules. If you want to turn on the firewall, yes or no, you can turn it on right here, which I did. And I set up a few rules, and there's a few really nice things in Cloudflare. So number one is there's set rules. There's already template rules, defined rules that can help you as a good starting point. For example, always disable Flash. It's most likely a good thing because Flash has a lot of security holes, so you don't want to do it. Another thing is if you have a WordPress site, for example, you can turn it on right here. If you want to customize it even further, you can click on the link and then you can see more things right here. Okay, these are the templates itself. In addition, you can set up your own firewall rules. So for example, you can set up a rule and click on create a rule, and you can say I want to block traffic from a certain location, right? So I can go here and I can say if I want to block from a certain country, for example, I don't know, Aruba, then I want to block it, or I want to allow it, or something like that. Or I can allow it, but I can ask for a JavaScript challenge or a CAPTCHA challenge, which means customer, when they come to that page, what they'll be able to see is some kind of form. They'll have to fill it out, prove that they're human and not a robot or a program, something like that, and then proceed. Okay, so you can set up your own rules. You got to be very careful what you set up. If you're not sure, don't touch this. Okay, you can set it up based on the path, based on a certain URL, based on a certain country, based on all of these settings right here, based on a certain IP. For example, you might want to have Cloudflare block everybody from accessing the backend admin other than from a certain IP, right? It's a good firewall rule to create. Okay, so let's jump a little bit here. So I'm going to skip the access. I'm going to jump to speed. Okay, so speed optimization. This is definitely my favorite part. Okay, so here you'll be able to see some basic information about your load times on mobile and desktop, and here's where you really want to improve things. This is by far my favorite thing. So optimization. So based on the package that you are paying for, you're gonna be able to see certain features. So image resizing. So first one is you can specify with the business plan if you want to resize images to fit certain devices, certain file types, things like that. So you can really optimize the web speed because most of the page's digital size is from images. So this is a really good feature to do, but we're using Pro, so I'll show you a few other things. So polish. This will compress your images to make them smaller, either via not compressing at all, or lossless, which is compressing them but keeping the quality exactly the same, or lossy, compressing the images slightly, or actually a lot, but reducing the image quality just by a little bit, but it's barely noticeable. And another thing is if the browser supports, which Chrome supports, we can the CDN will change formats or serve the WebP format over PNG, for example, or JPEG if the browser supports, if WebPNG is, because WebPNG is basically a smaller file size, right? So improving the size. Auto minify, taking JavaScript, CSS, and HTML, minifying them, basically making those files smaller. Okay, compressing, providing Brotleys, compressing the HTML, JavaScript, CSS over a better compression engine, so the data that's transferred from the server to the browser is a little bit smaller and transfers quickly. Okay, HTTP 2 is very important. TCP Turbo, I'm not sure about this too much. Reduce latency and throughput with custom tuned TCP optimizations. I did turn that on. Mirage will help improve load times for pages that include images on mobile devices, right? So one of the things we found is that the website speed really increased once we turned on Cloudflare, and the mobile side increased even more than the desktop side. So all of these optimizations really help mobile even more than others. Other thing, Rocket Loader improving JavaScript download, or JavaScript paint time, excuse me. And there's some other things about, in the business plan, I guess I'm not too familiar with this, but Railgun, accelerate delivery of dynamic content. Okay, so not sure too much about that. So caching, AMP, so advanced mobile pages, also helps. This is a beta thing, so right now I'm not sure too much. Okay, last one is if you have a separate mobile site and desktop site, you can automatically redirect them for mobile in a quicker manner than what your web server would do. Okay, so you can set up, but we have a responsive site, so we don't use this. Next one, caching, also a favorite. So if you have caching of images, JavaScript, HTML, etc., you can purge the cache. Either purge everything, which means you flush the cache and ask Cloudflare to re-get everything from your web server, or you can purge some of the things. For example, I only want to purge a certain page. For example, only this image, or only the home page. Or I want to purge everything within the media folder. So I would use kind of a star, something like that. Okay, great. So let's see, caching level. Here's where you're going to define what gets cached and what doesn't. So for example, if you want to cache everything, you would use standard. But if you want to, if you have dynamic URLs, something like this, google.com/query equals, I don't know, basketball. Okay, so if you wanted to cache everything, you would click on standard. If you don't want it to cache something with a question mark, you would ignore the query string. Okay, or no query string, excuse me. So you really want to make sure that you're telling Cloudflare what to cache and what not to cache. Okay, for caching, what is the default cache? In this case, we did 1 month, for example, because we know our content doesn't change often. If we do change it, we actually flush the cache. Right? The longer it caches, the quicker it can serve, etc. Always on, this is a nice feature. If your website, your web server is down, but Cloudflare does have a cached version, the customer, the visitor to your website won't even know that your website is down. It would continue to serve from cache. It's a really good feature. Okay, development mode. If you want to turn off cache temporarily, you can develop under, just under development mode. Okay, next one. Okay, so workers. Haven't played with this too much, but the idea is you can have the Cloudflare system automatically, based on the rules that you set up, they can do different things. For example, they can modify the HTTP request. So for example, if you decide that a certain page you want to not cache something, or you want to do some other actions, you can use this for it. So I think in future we'll make another video for it. I'll play around with it a little bit more and have a better examples for it. Okay. Next one, page rules. Okay. So here's all of these settings on the left-hand side. You usually have a button to turn it on or off, and that'll be for the entire website. But sometimes you want to override those, and you want to specify rules that fit for certain pages. So for example, maybe you want to cache every single page, but you don't want to cache, let's say, the login page or a specific page. So if you want to override the default values you've set here, and you want to do a specific one, you're going to create a page rule. For example, and you can use asterisks for kind of catching all, right? So for example, if the URL matches my website / let's say wp-admin, right, which is the login, then I don't want to cache it. So the setting would be, for example, I want to disable, for example, cache. I want to bypass. I don't want to cache it, right? So you can set up these rules. If I want to do everything in the media folder, I would do something like this. Okay, everything in the media folder, I want to, for example, instead of the 1 month caching, I want to cache it for more than a month. So let's go here, and something like that, browser cache. This is just an example. This is not caching from Cloudflare, this is browser caching. I want to do, for example, 6 months. Okay, and another very important part is if you have more than one rule, okay, so if you have more than one rule, the order actually matters. So you can drag it here and there. What does that mean? If a rule, if a certain web page or a certain browser could fit more than one rule. For example, I would say I want to cache everything and I want to disable caching on a certain page. The first rule, the one that's number one, the one that's higher than the other ones in the number in the numbers will apply only. So if you need to think about the logic how you apply certain things. Okay, so it's very important to know that. Okay, let's see, network, enable HTTP2. If you have HTTPS, HTTP2 is faster, so enable or not. This is HTTP3 in beta, still in waiting list, haven't tested this out. And a few other things, some settings. Okay, so these are some basic settings, not so important. Okay, in addition, for additional monthly fees, you have some optimizations on the traffic itself. I haven't tried it, so I'm going to skip this a little bit. Another interesting part is you have load balancing, which you can pay extra for, which if you have more than one web server, you can have Cloudflare serve as a load balancer to get information from different servers, right? If you have big sites, usually you have a load balancer. Okay, streaming, I haven't tried that as well, but if you do want to serve video, you can serve video from Cloudflare. There's some additional fees for that. And the last important part, or close to last important part, is if whenever you set up certain settings, for example, firewall settings, if you decide to block a certain country, or you decide to ask someone to fill out a CAPTCHA in order to verify themselves, things like that, you can also specify the actual design of those pages. So for example, if I block someone from China or someone from whatever, any other country, what I would do is I would create a page, a new HTML page on my site, and I would put that page in. So if Cloudflare does block it, the firewall rule did apply, it would actually cache that HTML page and serve it to them. So you can say, oh, we're sorry, you're blocked in this country, sorry, something like that. So you'd put a page from your URL and it would serve it. Okay, there's a few other things here. There's a few other things, for example, yeah, if you're under attack or something like that, right? So anything that the firewall has blocked, you can set those pages, and you should set those pages. Okay. Next one, I haven't played with this at all, but in general, there's third-party companies that have built apps that integrate with Cloudflare to enhance the functionality. Haven't played with it so much, but will in the future. And other thing about Scrape Shield. Sometimes other code or other websites, they're actually using your images and your information. So Cloudflare has some options to not allow other sites to actually use their information. So you can set these on or off. Okay, so that's basically it. So hope this makes sense. Hope this is not too complicated. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll try to answer as best as I can. If I'm not sure, I will research and do some more things, and I have a few more videos to do in future. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Okay, so one more thing I wanted to show about this, which is my favorite. So aside from the firewall rules and these kind of things, I really want to talk about speed. So all of these optimizations we did, speed, caching, etc. What does that translate to? So I just want to give you a simple idea about our website. So in Google Analytics, we have some data in our website. And I made some annotations when we started optimization with Cloudflare and then after. So before, on average, our website loaded, which was not so fast, in about 10 or 11 seconds, if you see here. Okay, here we actually installed Cloudflare, just the basic settings right here. And you can see once we started installing it, the website started getting faster and faster, from about 10 seconds to about 7 seconds. And then here we set up some page rules with really advanced caching, and you see the website is usually under 5 seconds. So that means that we've done very close to about 50% faster of a website, and that means customers' user experience is better. So hope this makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, appreciate your time. Thank you.